Alright, well, my name's Zach. I was graduating the class of 2020, so 2 years ago, the first COVID year. So I've been out for about 2 years now. I completed a traineeship with Caulfield Grammar School in 2021, which was awesome. I went to Jabiru, Northern Territory on the new expedition program. And since then, I've started studying at uni this year. I'm studying a Bachelor of Law and a Bachelor of Politics, Philosophy and Economics. I also coach volleyball on the side, coaching at school, still playing a little bit of cello. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. There was a few big takeaways from last year. The first one probably was around education. So the first, I think it was the last week I was in the Northern Territory. I got to go on a camp with the Year 5, 6s for about a week. We went down to Bachelor, which is in Litchfield National Park, so a beautiful area once again. And one thing that really stood out to me was there was one night, I think it was the second last night, a few of the boys were having trouble sleeping, so there was me, one of the other staff members, and I think about 4 of them were all sitting around a campfire at night, had the beautiful stars above us, and we're just listening to them talking. They were telling us stories about what they'd done on the weekend, and one of them had gone out with their grandfather hunting pigs and like shooting pigs and stuff, so obviously that's already a big difference between what I got to do as a young person, what they get to do as a young person. But hearing them tell their stories and talking about the cultural significance of going out and hunting and thinking about how that's how they were educated for the last 60,000 years, and you know how raw that sort of experience is and how connected you are and how authentic it is, like especially compared to how most of us, especially at Caulfield, would have learned, you know, sitting in a classroom, listening to the teacher. Obviously it's a different way of learning, but getting experience of that sort of learning where everyone's sitting around, young people are teaching older people, it was just very eye-opening, and you know, it made me think about, you know, what, you know, where the possibility of education will be in the future, whether, you know, we stick with the, you know, the classroom learning sort of model, and the same thing in uni as well. Lecture out the front, you sit in front of them, or whether you sit around a circle, around a campfire, sharing stories, and then going out and actually applying that on country, whether, you know, that's the future of education. Yeah, I don't think I missed a lot. I think I stood to gain a bit more, because obviously if you were to go down the usual path going from school straight into uni, you would have been doing a lot of the same thing, just extending those skills into maybe a little bit of a different environment. I reckon I just was able to gain a lot more, and as all the other trainees that I worked with last year, it was just, you know, it's such an eye-opening perspective. It's something that you don't really get if you just go straight into uni. Having that year away to go and experience something new, to go and do different things, to go and do things that you can't get down here is, yeah, I believe we would have gained a lot from doing that. Going back to the example I talked about before, in that evening where we're just all sitting around that campfire, you know, older people with younger people, and listening to them and learning from them, it's, I think, something that was so big up there, and especially in the classrooms as well, where, you know, the younger kids would teach us the language, that sort of thing, teach us about their culture and that sort of thing, sharing stories. It just reinforces the idea that, like, everyone's a learner for life, and I guess that's a Caulfield mission as well. But, you know, prioritising that everyone has something to add to the conversation, everyone has something to input, like everyone has a perspective to input, a perspective that should be valued. It's important to not only, you know, recognise that, you know, our elders and our ancestors who have that knowledge from the past and who have that knowledge of the present and have that life experience to teach us, but then also for us to teach them and to give ourselves a voice of, well, what do we think the future should look like? What are the issues that are impacting us? And seeing if we can combine that life experience with the knowledge of, well, you know, this is what we would like to achieve now, and seeing if we can bring those two together in some sort of harmonious way to create a better future for all. That's what I think, yeah. Before going to Jabiru, and I guess having studied global politics as well, you think of country as like, you know, Australia as a country, or China as a country, or America as a country. It's like a group of people. But the way that the Indigenous people view country is it's like a part of themselves, like they're a part of country and country is a part of them. It just refers to like a shared place of land and environment that we have a duty to look after. So it's not in a strict sense, a group of people, and this country's got to provide these sort of things to the citizens, that sort of thing. It's more of like, we're part of country, we're connected with country, and we've got to look after it, respect it. So the way that they talk about it is, not only the physical country, so the landscapes and the food that it bears and gives to us, that sort of thing, but also the spiritual connection that you can have, the stories that come from it, and the protection and the sustainable working of that country is how they view it. And I guess that's how my perspective has changed.